Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to get the access token to connect to Microsoft Graph API in Python. So for this demonstration, I'm going to show you two different methods. The first method is going to be using the ConfidentialClientApplication class, and the other method is going to be using the PublicClientApplication class. And the difference between these two methods is the ConfidentialClientApplication class will generate an authorization code that is going to pass to the authorized URL to generate the access token. First, the PublicClientApplication class will require the app access on behalf of a user. Alright, so I'll start with the ConfidentialClientApplication method. So first, I need to go into my address portal. Alright, so log into your address portal. In the search field, search for app registrations. Now you want to click into the app that you want to use. Alright, so using the ConfidentialClientApplication class, we'll need to pass the client secret to authenticate our account. So here I'm going to click on Certificates and Secrets. So here I'm going to click on New Client Secret. I'm going to set the expiration duration to 6 months. Then click on Add to create the client secret. Now copy the secret value. I'm going to paste the secret to my Python script. I'll name the variable client secret. I also need to grab the app ID. So going to the overviews page, and here we're going to grab the application ID. I'll name the variable app ID. I'm going to assign the application ID to the app ID variable. Now going back to the app summaries page, you want to enable the scopes. And you can do that by going to API permissions. And basically just add the scopes or permissions to the app. For now, I only want to have the users.read permission to grant to this Python script. So I'm going to assign the users.read scope to the scopes list. Then I'm going to create an instance of the confidential application object. Inside the class, I'm going to assign the client ID to the client ID parameter. And this will be app ID. Then I'm going to provide the client secret to the client credential parameter. Now let me go ahead and run this code block to generate the client object. From the client object, I can generate the authorization code by using the get authorization request URL method. And we're going to provide the scopes. And I'll name the output as authorization underscore URL. And I'm going to create the authorization URL variable. Now if I print the variable, it's going to return a URL. I'm going to open the URL using web browser's module .open. And I'll insert the URL. And I'll run this function. And it's going to open the page for me to choose my account. And because my redirect URL is set to localhost, if we look at the URL, so here we have this code component followed by the authorization code. And I'm going to copy the code. And I'll assign the code to a variable called authorization code. And to generate the access token from client.acquire token by authorization code. We're going to insert the code to the code parameter and the scopes, and this should be lowercase. And I'll name the output as access token. Now if I run these two lines, this should be plural scopes. Now if I run these two lines, and it's going to make a request to the backend and generates a set of access token. Now if I print access token, under the access token key, and here's our token ID. And I can create the access token ID by referencing the access token key. I'll name the output as access ID. Now you can take the access ID or the access token to make a request to Microsoft Address API. Alright, so that's going to be method number 1. For method number 2, we're just going to be using PublicClientApplication class. So the approach is going to be pretty similar, except that we don't need to provide the client secret. So here I'm going to grab these two items. And I'll create my client instance first. So it's going to be public client application. We only need to provide the client ID, and it's going to be the app ID. And let me create my client object. And to generate the access token from the client's object, that initiate underscore device flow, and we need to specify the scopes, and I'll name the output as flow. So this function is going to launch the authentication page. So if I run this statement here, and that's going to create a flow object, and to launch the authentication page. So first, let me print the flow object, and it's going to return a dictionary, and the URL that we need to access or to open is going to be under this verification URI key. So here I'm going to open the page using web browser's library, .open, and I'm going to insert the flow object, and I'll reference the verification URI key. Now I'm going to run line 10. And it's going to open the verification page, and it's going to ask me for the code. If we go back to the dictionary, so right here, under the user code key, we have this code right here. And that's the code that we need to provide to the OAuth2 page. Now click on Next. Now choose your account and log in. Now grant the scope permission to the app and click on OK. And when you see this message, that means that you have successfully authorized the app. Now close the tab. Alright, so here I'm going to insert one more line above the web browser.open method. So here we're going to insert message, user code, space, and I'm going to print the user code. So next time when I need to provide the user code, I can simply just copy and paste from the terminal. And this is what the string looks like. Now to get the access token from client, we want to use the acquire token by device flow method. And we'll insert the flow object. And here I'm going to name the output as token response. Now if I create the token response object, and once the token response object is created, I can print the object output to give us the access token ID. So this is going to be everything I'm going to share in this video. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.